Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Sunday. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well this season. I have a word for you. Tap in. Happy Sunday, guys. So I want to speak to you guys about the reciprocity when it comes down to finances. More so less, when God calls you to. Okay, so I had a good sis who emailed me. She got convicted, she said, quote unquote, she got convicted real bad from one of the recordings I uploaded on Friday. I know this was the recording that I titled How God, One Way, all caps, One Way, How God Uses Me. So she said that she knows without a doubt God has blessed her to be a blessing. But she doesn't move with her convictions, just to be honest, what she said. So after conversing with her via email, I felt spirit led, and I asked her if she had like a lot of trauma, stuff like that growing up. So she said yes, they went hungry many a days, things like that. So I was telling her sometimes with trauma, and I'm not saying it is, because there's a number of reasons on why some people are very selfish and they hold on to everything that they have. But in her case, it's just one of those things where when you went through so much trauma, you feel like when you make it, right? When you make it, you're going to latch on to every single thing that you have in order to avoid ever feeling that hunger, that pain, that fear, all that stuff that comes with trauma again. So that is the case with her, right? As we all know, God uses people completely different, right? Unless you speak to some religious folks who don't have bird brains and common sense to know otherwise. But God uses people differently. Some people are called to the background, some are called to the forefront, some are called to kingdom currency, to plant seeds, to help other people get certain things accomplished, things like that. Excuse me. In my case, typically it's going to be more towards like missionary type of, like more like towards poor people or people who are going through a really, really bad season, if you will. But God has it fixed in how it should be for everybody, that the person sees God through that transaction. They only see you as a vessel, and it's important for you yourself to be sure that the person sees God. This is why it's crucial to move when God tells you to move, meaning date, time, such and such, right? Because, for an example, on why that's important, I'll just give an example really quickly, because I know sometimes I can get like really deep or whatever, and you have to, so I try to give examples. Okay, say for example that somebody lights are going to get cut off literally at 5 o'clock, like literally. So this person, God is working on this is another person now, right? God is working on building their faith in their relationship and their process with God, etc., etc. So he's really trying to teach them how faith really works. So God needs you to plant that seed. If he convicts you to do so, right? God needs you to plant that seed at a very particular time, because he may have that person waiting, and pressing them against the wall to kind of see, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to trust me and wait on me? Or are you going to try to do something crazy to try to get this money? So he's working on the other side with them. So when he tells you to move, you got to move, because he may call you in right at a time that, boom, it's 4:59. Boom, the blessing comes through. And then the person knows, oh my goodness, this has to be God. It can only be God, because how in the world? So you see how strategic it can be. Another quick example, the gentleman who you're referring to with the hotel. Remember, if you look at the messages, he said that he didn't get my message. He never got my text message. But he felt convicted to check his inbox a few days later. A few days later was literally the day prior to him having to check out the hotel. So God is very strategic. So that's why it's important to stay spiritually connected and aligned and so obedient that you move even when you don't feel like moving. Like there's somebody right now, like literally today, who I know God is calling me to help with a certain situation, but he won't let me do it now. And I feel like, God, can I just do it now? Because I'm going to dinner like later and I don't feel like being interrupted. But he won't let me do it like right now. But I know without a doubt it's because he's pressing somebody's back against the wall in order for them to develop how they hear from God in their faith. So here's my whole thing with reciprocity. Anytime that God calls you to anything, but of course we're speaking fine, those of you who are called to kingdom currency and you're called to plant seeds, you're called to be destiny helpers, you're called to help people get ministries up off of the ground, you're called to however, but it's, you know, God have blessed you to be a blessing in a financial type of way. And it literally may just be $5 extra on your check. That $5 extra is for you to go and get some rice and some chicken and cook up some meals for homeless people and pass that out, right, with that $5. So it don't have to be no large amounts of money. It has nothing to do with that at all. It's more just about obedience. God will typically start you off small to watch you. Because see, you'll have people praying and asking God, can you give me, I know that was one of my prayers many years ago, can you give me overflow in order to be a blessing to other people? And when I said that, I meant that from my heart, literally, because sometimes people say things just to say it because it sounds good, right? I meant that from my heart. So let me just tell you this, if that's somebody's current prayer, or if you just gotten blessed with some type of overflow because you promised God that you want to be a blessing to other people, right, for the kingdom. Let me tell you this right here. God is going to start you off really, really small. It might be a few dollars extra on your check, right? He may bless you to get overtime where other people can't get it, that type of thing. He's going to watch you real close. He's going to start pointing out certain things for you to do. Turn around. I don't care if you have to drive a mile to make a U-turn. Turn around and give that homeless person that you see $5. Turn around and go get a cup of hot coffee because it's cold out here. Not surely cold right now, but go get a cup of hot coffee and give it to this person, right? Like he's going to watch you real close, like a hawk. And if you fail those tests on the small amounts, you will not be elevated because he can't even trust you on that level. And in fact, you got to be real careful even then too, because not only will he hold your blessing back, you mess around and lose whatever you currently have because you're not being obedient to whatever he's calling you to be obedient to. So fast forward, you pass all your tests regardless of how you feel, because it's going to be sacrificed. Most times you're not going to feel like wanting to do it. You might be tired, you just don't feel like it, right? When he starts to watch you and trust you more and more, he'll start to send you more and more increase. Your purpose won't change, but your assignments will change. Now you go from blessing homeless people to waiting for him to prompt you to help a certain person go to college, prompt you to help plant a seed because this church such and such. However he prompts you to do it, right? He will start to send you increase and increase and increase. Your ultimate job, more than anything, is to be sure that whoever you're called to see and know that you're just a vessel. Meaning you had, listen, I receive your thank you, truly I do. And I'm grateful that you're grateful. But you're not about to put all that, that's not me, right? Don't put me up on no pedestal, because I'm just as flawed as you are, right? I'm trying to figure this thing out just like you are, right? They have to see God in the mix. It is your duty. It is your job. If you see my documentary, you saw me told Mr. Steve 1,000 times, all glory to God, all glory to God, all glory to God. Because, sir, I promise you, right, I could be doing 20 other thousand things that I would love to do. So it's not me. To those of you like my sis who email me with that mindset that feel like if you give certain things away, you're going to go in lack. God, you will never, ever, ever, ever be in lack when you are being obedient. Now, here's where you will go in lack at, and I've been here. Trust me, this is how I can tell you, right? When you are moving from a place of emotions, when you are moving from a place of people pleasing, right? Meaning you're moving because you think you want to help this person because for whatever reason. And listen, that's great too. But I'm speaking about specifically when God is calling you to something, because everybody's not your assignment. Just because there's people right now who need help, but I don't have the okay. I've been waiting around. I can't get the okay. I can't go ahead of God because God is trying to teach them a lesson about something, right? It's something they're making their head hard about, right? God is trying to get their attention about something. So he's going, see, when God is trying to get your attention and you're making your head hard about something, like he told you to leave that toxic relationship or marriage, like this man is a straight bum, not giving you anything, but yet you're calling other people. Like God will literally dry things up where you have no help. So the person on the other side have to be very, very careful. Because if God is telling you no, your hands are tied. The other person on the other side is looking at you sideways like, why? Listen, I mean, you think I'm going to go against what God is saying? Like I'm going to get in trouble because you keep making your head hard and you don't want to listen to him about whatever he's dealing with you about? You're not about to get me in trouble. So you will never ever go in lack unless it's because you're moving from a place, especially my empaths. Oh my God. See, this is why we have to. My empaths and my highly sensitive people, you have to be led by the Spirit. Because you'll be in lack and God will just take everything from you because you're doing the wrong things with it. But you will never go in lack because here's why. God always supplies what he calls you to. That's any area in life. Whatever he calls you to, he's going to supply you with it. Someone may not come at your door and drop off a box with $5 million. He's going to give you witty ideas and inventions, or he's going to use your current purpose, whatever you're currently doing, and he's going to elevate it where you can make more money from it, where the average person can't make that kind of money from it. You have to be careful, because if you mess up and you start thinking that money is yours, because none of it is yours. At the end of the day, God gave you that idea. God gave you that job. God gave you the limbs to get your butt to work. God gave you the strategy. None of it is yours at the end of the day, point blank period. But he's going to make a way for you to have overflow to whatever you're called to. Now, here's another thing where a lot of people miss it. People tend to think that their blessing is going to come back in the form in which they gave it, or it's going to come back from the person they gave it to. 99% of the time, the people you bless is not going to bless you back. Right? Maybe not 99%, but it's up there. That number's up there. You're not going to be blessed back from the people you bless. See, God called you to the person. This is the difference versus, see, you get in your feelings. See, this is why nobody can use you when you're called and you're moving through convictions. A person can't use you because you're not doing it for the person. So regardless of whatever they do, God's going to reward you, let it be for what you've done or through your intent. You can't worry about what somebody else is going to do, right? Not when God called you to it. And your blessings, your return blessings, most time are not going to even come back in the way you gave it, meaning financial. It's going to come back with open doors. God will put you in rooms that you could have never gotten to, right? God will give you favor with people, and then you got other people side-eyeing you, thinking you think you all that because of a child. His favor. You have no idea. You over here hating on somebody about some nonsense. If you get yourself together and get yourself in alignment and you move with purpose and calling, God will do the same for you. But no, you rather sit there and side-eye people because you think somebody got something up on you with that foolish. Nobody worrying about that nonsense. That's petty. That is so petty. Yes, I just had a moment. So but it's going to come back in the form of open doors, things like that. And then of course, again, the more God watches you, and then he know he can trust you, he'll constantly give you more and more and more, so you can help more people, and then you can help people on larger levels, larger scales, whatever that you're called to. You must remain humble in the process, because if you're not careful, the enemy will sit right there and try to get into your head to make you think like you can become this or you can do. It's not about you. You gotta remain humble, right? Gotta remain humble, and you gotta stay connected and on point. Here's another thing. You would tend to think that the blessings that God gives you would come with less stress, because God gives you overflow to help other people, so it would be easy as pie. No. The overflow that you're asking for, the overflow that you have, the overflow that you're waiting on, it's going to come with a lot of stress. It's heavy. You're called to steward it. It's heavy. And that's another reason why you'll start cutting people off, or you don't care if they fall off, because their mindset, because see, throughout the process and throughout the God having to watch you and teach you and this, that, and the third, it changed your mindset, right? You no longer move a certain kind of way. And so people who have not elevated their mindset yet, they won't see it like that. They're still with that raw period pay Paul mentality, that backyard mechanic mentality, and then they think you should still be that way, but you can't. You would want to, because that's the easier way sometimes, truth be told, but you can't move like that because you know you're being watched. And now you mess around and make the wrong move, and then God snatch everything from you, and you can help nobody, because you're, so you have to be okay with losing people. You have to be okay with people feeling like, oh, you forgot where you came from, all that nonsense. You got to be okay with that, honey. You got to be okay with that. And people will feel that way. But it's okay. This is why you have a soul tribe. This is why you got a whole different breed of a soul tribe that's waiting on you, or that you have met, or that you will meet along the way. But again, like I said, now, everybody is not called to one thing or another. Like, there are certain things, I thank God, that I'm not called to, because I know I can't do it. I won't get into it, because it's just like certain fear tactic things. Like, I'm scary with a lot of things. So there are certain things that I admire. Like, okay, for example, people who are called to hospice, and I know that sounds crazy because I'm in healthcare, but I specialize in quality of life, right? Not end of life. No, I'm gone, right? I have a friend who's an RN at hospice, and I admire greatly her calling, but that's not me. I'm quality of life. So you have to know what you're called to. What you're called to, it comes so naturally to you, right? It comes so naturally to you. So I'm just not called to plant seeds, right? Oh, speaking of that, not only do I said earlier, a lot of the times you won't really receive the blessings back. Now, let me change that really quickly, because God will literally have people planting seeds into you, right? Because they feel like if God tell them to move and they feel like they're waiting on certain blessings, but it won't be back typically from the people you help. But God will use like other people, things like this. This is why I always tell people too, because one of the most daunting feelings, disappointing feeling of despair, is when you feel like you've helped a person and that person won't help you in your time of need. You can't even look at life like that. That's going to really keep you bogged down. You have to understand that your blessings come back from God. When you give and help people genuinely from your heart, your blessings come back from God. So when somebody else don't return that blessing, right, you don't get all like, God will use complete strangers as I said in that text message, that inbox you saw, this is why God uses complete strangers. So when you have people freaking out like, oh my goodness, why am I so special? Why would God choose this random stranger to bless me? It's because God saw when you help somebody else. So that's why it's a never ending cycle. I always try to describe it as a Ferris wheel. Think about a big Ferris wheel that have all these seats. On each seat, there's an index card that has words on it. One may be open doors. One may be financial increase. One may be ministry. One may be it's like these different cards on each seat. But as that merry-go-round goes around, the cards stay in place. Well, you have to tape them down, but the cards stay in place. So you never get off of this Ferris wheel. So you bless somebody with the financial seed, then God opens the door. Then it's some type of business increase. Then it's this, that, and the third. You can never, ever, ever go wrong when it comes down to reciprocity, when you are planting seeds from a financial standpoint, when it comes to purpose and calling. But you can block let me tell you, there's somebody right now coming to mind. A person who I've helped out before, right? And it's cool because God told me to do it, so I don't have like any reservations about that. But then this person at some point got a business off of the ground or whatever, and then this person started selling like their supplies and things like that, and then something happened where basically they were adamant about getting me this product. I didn't even want the product. I mean, I would have gotten it just for support, but I really didn't want the product. But then this person kept giving me all these different prices, and I'm saying to myself, like, first of all, I don't even want it, so I'm not about to pay these high prices. And better yet, if you're wise, you would feel like, you know what? Because of the seeds you've planted or the ways you've helped me out in the past, I'm gonna go ahead and bless you free with this product. Now, I would have saw that as reciprocity. I help you, you help me. So we're going to keep on that path. We go higher and higher on that path. That path increase and increase and increase. But what it did was, it threw them off of the Ferris wheel. Because you don't understand how reciprocity works. You want to charge some mud ducks or some bottom feeders, overprice them, right? Because you know you're not getting anything in return from them. But when it comes down to reciprocity, you got to know how it works. So that's what I wanted to share. But again, if you're called to steward areas, again, of finances, it doesn't mean how small or how large they may be. Just trust and believe that God is watching you. He wants to increase you. If you're waiting on an increase in a certain area, it's a good chance that either you haven't learned the lesson yet on this level, or you're not being obedient to the things that he's requiring you to be obedient to, or you may have to learn some more things or it could be letting other people fall off, people who are still pulling at you and draining you and just not having the right spirits around you. Could be you're still holding on to people he's trying to remove. Like, there's a lot of reasons on why God haven't elevated you yet. But a lot of you guys, a lot of us, I know for a fact myself, a lot of us are being called to an area of shift, of increase really, really soon. If you're tapped in, you can feel it. You're about to be shifted because you've passed your current test and these current levels. Also, I keep meaning to say this. It's coming back to my spirit now. A lot of you have gone as far as you're going to go by yourself. A lot of you have gone as far as you're going to go by yourself. God is going to be sending partners, and that can look like whatever, kingdom spouses, purpose partners, destiny helpers, just partnerships. It's time to go higher. You've reached that. You've maxed your level. There's nothing else you can do, right? And this is why too a lot of things aren't happening for you when you're trying to make this happen, make that happen. And God is like, no, I'm gonna shut it down because I'm about to send you some partners. A lot of you with those mindsets, like people who've been, I don't know why this is coming up. Somebody must have been divorced on this channel who's listening. You've been divorced, but you made your mind up, honey. You gonna meet Jesus single. You're never getting remarried. You listen, you got to be you got to be open-minded, because a lot of the times God will send people, and again, that's just not a spouse, it can be anybody, but he's going to send people to you because you have maxed your level on how far he can take you. So be open regardless if you want to or not. Just be open, be fluid. I wanted to share this. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.